My name is Don Binkley. I'm the principal of Property Providers, and and we're all about executive leasing and short-term rentals and luxury holiday rentals. And I wanted just to have a quick chat with you guys about, you know, um, property management versus, what is labor, what's in and out of scope. Now, many of our clients work in the professional services space, so I think that everyone has a pretty good idea of what's kind of scope creep and what's not. So what we often do is work in very complicated environments where there's a non-homogeneous product in a non-centralized location. Therefore, there can be all these things that transcend out of there. So let's just jump into it. So why does this matter? Well, I think that we need to understand our clients. I need to understand what is in and out of the scope of work when it comes to just property management, and then what is defined as labor or out of what we charge for. And then also, I think we need to also briefly touch on this property management move into project management, and then why we charge for it and the bottom line. So first of all, this is about fairness. It's about being transparent and upfront to avoid boundaries, to unintentional scope creep. People think that people always think that things take literally 25% of the time that it does to do it right. As a low volume business, we are operating on very, very thin margins. Our employee costs are in excess of 50% of turnover. So we need to make sure that every minute counts, and that time is not infinite. Again, like often people think, oh, that takes 15 minutes, when it really, let's be honest, takes an hour and a half by the time you go collect the keys, scan them out, go to the property, park the car. Things always take longer than you think it does. And the last thing is that our business is focused on furnished, and there's just more to manage in the furnished property versus a non-furnished property. So what's in scope? All the marketing and distribution, tenant and guest relations, negotiating terms and logistics, routine inspections, quality assurance inspections, cleaning inspections, open for inspections, any kind of inspection, compliance and safety checks, as well as all the admin in terms of setting up leases, contracts, keys, renewals, all that stuff, and then clearly the financial management, which is all the trust accounting, disbursement to owners, payment to trades, and the agency, what have you. So all the trust accounting, that's in scope. So it's out of scope. Out of scope is kind of labor-based stuff, which might be, somebody might have to go down and pick up a bag of garbage. That's like a culture killer, and we need to pay people for that. It might be refreshing household items, so something might need new wine glasses or cutlery or crockery. We find in the properties that we manage that every few years they need a styling or an update, like a refresh. Sometimes compliance measures might require a little bit more out of scope. We might need to go down and replace the evacuation diagrams, what have you. Little things like, if we're at a property, we got to skim the pool or blow it down or whatever. Again, these things are never 5-minute initiatives. They're always, take us a half an hour. Sometimes we get called out because remotes don't work and what have you, and we need to change the bulbs, batteries, and all that stuff. One thing we are totally upfront about is cutting keys. Is out of scope. Really, our keys are a big thing, and I encourage you to just Google keys, please, and you'll find some content from us. But we require 4 sets of working keys for every property, and I will say that many times you'll cut a key off a key that's been cut many times, and then it won't work. So it's actually the right thing to do is call a locksmith and have the house same key or even keyless entry installed. But yeah, there's a lot more on keys than you think. Any kind of purchasing of linen, new pillows, dunas, stuff like that which would require us to run down the mall or the shopping center and pick them up. Inevitably this is December 22nd and we get stuck in the parking lot and there's a lineup and all these things. Decluttering the property. Sometimes we'll send some staff in to help people declutter it and depersonalize the property. And any kind of really tech stuff like trying to get televisions to working. If we have to go to the property to try to get TVs working or difficult, sophisticated appliances if manuals haven't been included in home guides and stuff. So that's all like labor, in terms of task management. But when does property management intersect with labor, which then intersects with project management? So project management is we define as anything that's fairly major, things that cost over $2,000 or $3,000, and involve multiple people. Like an insurance claim, for instance, would be an example of a project, and we have policy around that. Say major compliance upgrades, and there's been times where we've had to get a pool service that have involved fencing guys and landscapers and all that stuff. Um, any kind of again styling or refurbishing coordination. If we're gonna go to a property and style it, that's seen as a project because it involves multiple vendors and shops and touch points. Any financial documentation around tax and audits. Sometimes people ask, we'll provide, end of year financial statements, but if there's really like more than 3 or 4 hours worth of work, then, I think that's fair enough for us to do that due diligence. And the last thing is this private property management. So we do have a product where we will manage a property while the owner's in it. Typically, this is for very wealthy people who want a proactive maintenance schedule, and don't really want to deal with trades or anything, but still want to run the all the bills through the books in terms of through a trust account ledger. Okay. So key takeaways. There is a difference between property management and labor, and there's a difference between property management and project management. What we want to do is create clear boundaries and be upfront and fair. And the last thing is what we want to do is try to be if something's transcendent that property management scope, we should be calling it out too, saying, okay, this is a scope of work and this is what it's going to cost. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit more insight into project management, labor, and property management. This is what we do in terms of we work in high-end properties and with high discerning clientele are demanding. That's fine, but this is why we're trying to keep our commission as low as possible. So that's for a defined scope of work. I hope that's all clear. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to give me a call or a member of my team. I hope you're well, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.